A slight segue, but now that I have you, I was going to ask this question a bit later. But there was a report, a CSIRO report, a research paper, I should say, Murky Waters Running Clearer, Monitoring, Reporting and Evaluation of the State of the Murray-Darling Basin after more than 3 decades of policy reform. It attracted some media. I'm interested, I'm not going to ask a series of questions contesting the science because I'm wholly unqualified on that. But I'm interested in, when a paper like that is published, how does the authority respond? How is that information taken into your considerations? Because the last question I asked you, I think, in the remains of the day, last estimates, was around how you're preparing for a State of the Murray report, in effect. So rather than a commentary on the paper or the merits of the paper, how is that fed into your considerations, or any other scientific paper, I should say?
Thank you, Senator, and I will get Dr Coleman to comment as well. The paper to which you refer is a paper by the Wentworth Group of Concerned Scientists, and it's an important line of evidence. So as we look to the Basin Plan evaluation, which is a rearward look over the last 5 years, we're required to do an evaluation every 5 years, which we'll release around the middle of the year. It becomes a line of evidence. We've met several times with the Wentworth Group, both in preparation of their report and also since the publication of that report. And it's important that when we're looking to evaluate not only the state of the basin but the contribution of the Basin Plan to that state, that we gather as many lines of evidence as we can. And so that's the approach that we are taking to that report. But I might get Dr Coleman to comment also, because he's been directly involved.
What was the name of that report?
I read it into Hansard. I have a copy of it if you like, but I don't. It's public documents, so it doesn't necessarily need to be tabled.
No. It's just my interest. Thank you.
Dr Coleman.
Thank you, Senator. Dr Matthew Coleman, General Manager, Science at the Murray-Darling Basin Authority. In relation to this particular report, so in general we welcome new science. We're always interested to see new lines of evidence, but for this particular report, something we welcome specifically is the mode in which the authors engaged with the MDBA early on. So they shared a first draft with us. They took on board some of our comments, and then they shared a late draft with us as well. When a report like this comes out, for this particular case, we asked our advisory committee on science to look at the report, and they're conducting a review of it. The review in this case is particularly around the robustness and comprehensiveness of the report, and the main question from us is how can we take a report like this, a study, and incorporate it into our existing work. What we're doing now is we're looking at this report and we're seeing to the extent to which we can incorporate it in our Sustainable Rivers audit and also our Basin Plan evaluation.
So thank you for that. So will the findings of the review be public information? Will I be able to ask questions on the level of that it was incorporated at some point in estimates, or is that in confidence? No,
Senator, not at all. We'll be very transparent in the outcomes of the evaluation, which will be publicly released around the middle of the year. So, as I say, 2 parts to that, Sustainable Rivers audit and the evaluation, all of which will be public.
It raised some media discussion from various interest groups or stakeholders about resetting the rules. And I know, so that will be part of the review, whether our targets or our benchmarks are correct, having regard to river health?
Yes, Senator, I will get Dr Coleman to comment some more. So under the Basin Plan has indicators contained within it which are designed to determine the health of the system. So in terms of implementation, we are required to report against those indicators, for example, relating to salinity and flora and fauna and the like. So we are legislatively required to report against those indicators. There are some other indicators in the Wentworth Group report that aren't within the frame of the Basin Plan, so they're not legislative requirements, but they are, as Matt said, lines of evidence against which we will also review. Dr Coleman might have a further comment.
Thank you, Andrew. That's right. So the Wentworth Group report, or the report that was published, they were able to access, so they access publicly available data. and then they use that data against a set of indicators that they developed. And so it'll be a slightly different slant to the work we'll release through the Sustainable Rivers Audit and the Basin Plan Evaluation, because we've accessed not only publicly available data but also other data from the ABS and the ATO as part of our study. And also our indicators are specifically tied to the objectives of the Basin Plan, whereas the Wentworth Group indicators, some of them were Basin Plan related, some of them were more general condition related.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. You've given me the comfort that I needed, that it's in the bloodstream, which is where my questions were coming from. Thank you.